What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of Don't Give No Pucks podcast. I am your host, Joey, along with my co host, Brandon. We just wanted to start this episode off, guys, by paying respect to the Gaudreau family and sending our condolences. If you haven't heard yet, it was a horrible incident. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were in town for their sister's wedding, and they were on a bike ride together, and they unfortunately were hit by a drunk driver. And it's just overall, it's a horrible incident, and which was completely avoidable. You now have, children without a father, wives without husbands, parents without children, and so on. And I just want to give my condolences to the whole family, the Columbus organization, and yeah, may they rest in peace. Two great guys. I mean, I didn't know too much about Matthew. Johnny was Johnny Hockey. Everyone knew Johnny. So horrible loss all around, regardless if they were all stars or not. Anyone that, has their life taken so soon that way, it's just a horrible situation.
Yeah, tragic news. It's one of those where you'll always remember where you were when you heard the news about the Gaudreau brothers. Just a huge loss, not just for the Blue Jackets organization, but the hockey world. And it's going to be a pretty melancholy feel at the Nationwide Arena on opening night, I'm sure. But, just a tragic incident as a whole, and another reminder to just, be smart. And if you're drinking, call a cab, get an Uber, don't get behind the wheel. So, but classy on the NHL to pay tribute and condolences out to the Gaudreau family.
That's what I love about hockey. It's like, obviously it's a gritty physical sport, the only sport that allows fighting besides boxing and UFC. But when a tragedy like this happens, that's when you really see, the sport's true colors and the players' true colors come out, and they are all there to support one another and the fans and the family of the people affected. So, like you said, shout out to the NHL. Shout out to all the teams that, did wonderful, memory memorials for him and his brother Matthew. And yeah, it's again horrible tragedy, and may they rest in peace and their legacies live on. Hopefully their sons grow up to tear it up in the NHL and make them proud.
That's right.
So on a little bit of a lighter note, we see regular season hockey in 48 hours.
That's right.
How do you feel about that? You ready for the season?
I am, but both New York teams being in the MLB playoffs, I'll be switching back and forth pretty regularly. So
it's okay. Fun. You're a fake fan, so we're expecting it.
Listen, it's no better time of the year than October. You got hockey and basketball starting. You have baseball playoff
baseball.
The NFL is in full swing, so it's the best time of year. But Rangers opening night is going to be a couple of hours after the Mets game starts. So hopefully the Mets have it already wrapped up against the Phillies by then, but we'll see.
You think they're going to do it?
No reason why they shouldn't. No reason why they shouldn't. They're having a magical season, but it's not too often we get to say it's fun being a New York sports fan. So with the Rangers doing well last year and have high expectations this year, both the Mets and the Yankees are in the playoffs. And
do we see a Yankees-Mets World Series?
What do you think is more likely to happen? Seeing the Mets and the Yankees this year in the World Series, or the Rangers and Islanders
New York Rangers
in the playoffs?
The Rangers and Islanders, I feel like. I mean, like, it's happened. When did it happen last? 2014?
No, 94. 94 round one.
Oh, you're saying Eastern Conference Final, or
just
when they played the playoffs?
Just in general.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. The Islanders weren't really that good in the early 2000s.
I don't know why I thought it was more recent, but I think you have a better chance at seeing the Rangers versus Islanders. I could see the Islanders, listen, man, as a Ranger fan, we both know the Islanders aren't like a bad team.
Oh, they're good. I think I'm reading a lot of pundits say that, they're just going to be treading water this year and barely make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they make the playoffs. I think they finish top 3, maybe in 4th place in the Metro.
Listen, the Islanders are sneaky. Like they have a couple big names. I'm not going to sit here and say they have an all-star team, because they don't. But they have a bunch of guys that people sleep on.
They have great goaltending. They do have great Anthony Duclair during the offseason, who
I thought that was a great signing.
Me too. I wanted the Rangers to get him. They have Bo Horvat, Matt Barzal. Anders Lee, they have great players, and we got a chance to see them when they played the Rangers in the preseason. What a game that was! The Rangers
Yeah,
were down 3-0 heading into the third period, ended up putting a 6 spot in the third
in the
period and
third period.
beating them 6-4. And if I recall, with about 2.5 minutes left, the Rangers were down 4-2. You were like to me, I think I'm going to go and catch my train soon. I want to make the train in the next 20 minutes. But
I did say that.
good thing you decided to stay, because imagine you missed that.
I know that I would have been beside myself. Listen, it was preseason hockey, but we spoke about this. That was going to be the best. That's the best game that we're going to see all season. If
Yeah,
there's
I
a
know.
better if there's a better game, I will be completely speechless. I will be shocked. That game was the Stadium Series
Yep,
2.0,
yep, yep, yep.
literally.
It looked like
I
the Islanders were in midseason form, giving up 6 goals in the third period.
and we saw those three kids in front of us that were sitting there like Islanders fans talking smack the whole game, and then what happens? They tie it, and then they literally looked at each other, and one of the kids goes, "They're going to lose this in regulation.
I
They're
remember
going
that.
to
Yeah.
lose this to the Rangers at MSG in regulation." And what did they do? Lost in
Lost in
regulation.
regulation. And I think the highlight of
But
that game was I caught a T-shirt during the T-shirt toss.
I did, you did, and then you were a gentleman. You gave it to a little child.
That's right. I have enough of those that my wife uses as pajama shirts.
Yes. But I mean, and listen, like on another note, right? So like the Rangers crawl back, they completely, annihilate them in the third period. And then I went to the game this past Friday where Rangers just couldn't do it against them. So the Islanders are not a team to sleep on. And I think we're going to see that a lot this year of teams that were, I'm not saying the Islanders were dogs last year, but I think this year you're going to see teams and people are going to have expectations that they're going to follow the trend of last year being dogs. And I think they're going to come in and surprise everyone.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to have your normal teams that I think are going to do well. Tampa, Carolina, Edmonton, like, you know what I mean? Like you have the same teams that have the same core, although Tampa's core is a little bit shaken up with Stamkos being gone.
Yeah.
But, I think you're going to see some teams, call me crazy. I think Buffalo, I think, I can see Chicago. I mean, these guys can only lose for so long before they start making adjustments. They start getting fed up and they just start winning.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's not going to be great this year, but technically the regular season already started. The Devils and the Sabres already played in the Global Series, and the Devils swept the Sabres 2-0. So for what it's worth, the Devils already have a step up on the competition, having 4 points in the standings. But the Sabres are another team. To your point, how many years of losing can you take? When was the last
That's what I'm
time
saying.
they made the playoffs? Well, it's been over a decade.
Yeah, I mean, and
Those
the
fans deserve a lot
Sabres.
better.
What was that? Sorry.
I said those fans deserve a lot better. Buffalo fans are.
Yeah, and not for nothing. I mean, the Sabres had all stars.
They did.
They had Tage Thompson. They had why can't I think of his name? He just went to Jack Eichel.
They did. Yeah.
They had other players that were solid guys. I don't know if it was goaltending. I really I don't know, but again, I mean, I'm curious to see this season because you had a lot of teams last year that were good, like the Rangers, like Carolina. They were good teams. Edmonton, Dallas, they were this close. So now we're going to see a lot of those teams come back. I think a few of them fall off. And now I think we're going to see some other teams that were dogs the last few years slowly creep into their spots. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be this year, but I think some will be this year and some will be, with the years to come.
Going back to the Rangers for 1 second, though, 4-2 in the preseason. What are your thoughts? Who stood out to you? Who didn't impress you? I have my thoughts, but I want to hear from you first.
I was not impressed by Capo Caco. I was not impressed by.
He's trade bait. Don't worry.
Don't say that. This is going to be public. Um, honestly, dude, I wasn't impressed by many people in the offseason in the preseason. Like Kreider scores that goal against the Islanders, and he's just like where's like the hype? Like where's like the boys? You know, they're buzzing, and like I will say three people that stood out to me. Matt Rempe,
Yeah.
and I know people are gonna say, "Oh, Rempe's been great." Blah blah blah. I'm talking about his offensiveness. Watching him handle the puck, watching him skate, watching him get in there, you know, play the boards.
He's getting better.
Edstrom,
Yeah. Very impressive.
and a lot of people again are going to say, "Oh, but he's great. He shouldn't be in the AHL." Brendan Hoffman,
Yeah, he's got to learn how to be an NHL player. He's going to start the season in the AHL, but he's going to get a shot this year at some point.
and one more I would like to add that did impress me, and I know you're going to laugh, and there's going to be a rebuttal. Philip Hedl has looked good,
He did. There's no rebuttal. There's no rebuttal. He bruises like a banana, but he's a good player. So if he can avoid getting
dude.
hurt,
He looks so good out there.
he's always been a good
He ha-
player.
but he has more confidence. He has more agility. He got bigger.
He's got
Like
to hit the gym because he bruises like a banana. He goes down pretty easily. I'm not sure if he's just
I,
a bit of
I
a.
think he just needs to. Sorry.
No, I'm saying I don't know if he's just a bit of an embellisher, but when he took that knee on knee at center ice during that preseason game, you thought that that's it. He's done for the season again. And then he comes back out later the game like nothing happened. So it's like,
And not for nothing, Ryan Lindgren got hurt because of that.
yeah, because he
Like,
had to fight and stick up for his teammate. But um, on the topic of Ryan Lindgren, that's a guy who's going to miss the first few games of the season. He's on the IR, and you know who that makes room for to make their NHL debut on Wednesday against the Penguins. This kid has impressed me since the start of the preseason, Victor Mancini.
yeah,
And he's a 22-year-old young kid from Michigan, and in all
he scored the
likelihood,
first goal, I believe.
he scored. He scored
Hold
in the
on,
first preseason game against the Bruins.
but I think he was the first goal.
He carries the puck well. He moves it up the boards well, and I think he's going to get his shot on Wednesday night. That's part of the good things about having a pretty deep team is that whenever there's injuries, there's room for guys to make their mark. And I think Victor Mancini is a young guy who wants to be known in the NHL, and it's going to be exciting to see him make his debut. In all
Yeah, he scored
likelihood,
the first goal. He scored the first goal against Boston, and then it was Hedel and Belzile, Belize. That looked
you got to
like
say
Belize to me, honest.
he's sent down to the AHL, but I'm excited to see this Mancini kid play. Hopefully, he's
He
going
looks
to.
like he's got grit too.
Yeah, yeah, American
You know, I mean,
born.
listen, you have a guy like Zach Jones who, listen, of course, like I think Zach Jones is going to blossom to be a great defenseman.
Yeah,
But he doesn't really have that physicality. You know, like you look at Ryan Lindgren. All right, he doesn't have a lot of. He does have offensiveness, but he's more of a defensive defenseman. As where this kid Mancini, but Ryan Lindgren has that grit, and I think this kid is going to be almost like him, like a hybrid between him and Jones, like where Jones is offensive and Ryan Lindgren's defensive, and has that grit. I think this kid's going to be a good spot.
yeah. Zach Jones impressed the hell out of me during the preseason. I think he deserved more ice time last year, especially during the playoffs. But I think this year we're going to see him as a regular in the NHL, and I think he's going to shine, and he's going to be one of their top defensemen this year. I have high expectations. I know the guys wanted to play. He's been very patient, and he's been patient with the process and has gone through it. So he's
Yeah.
looking forward to getting more ice time, and I'm excited to watch him play. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, I wanted to ask you, whatever happened to Zegras in the offseason? Do you
He's
know?
he's still with the Ducks. He might be trade bait come deadline time. Interesting if he ends up in a Ranger jersey at some point in his
Well,
career.
that's why I was asking.
He's a hometown kid. He's from Westchester,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
it's somehow
I'm
somehow anyone who wants to end up in a Rangers jersey usually does. So we'll see if that
yeah,
happens sooner rather than later.
I uh I love to watch that kid play hockey. Like him and Connor Bedard, honestly, are just like they're just two kids that are they remind me of like a Panarin mixed with like a McDavid. Just like their play style, it's very quick and fast, especially Zegras. Like the kid's a sicko with the puck.
I think that the Ducks have the sweetest jerseys in the NHL.
You
Those
said that
new,
about the Yotes.
well, they're no longer a team. So I think those new orange jerseys that the Ducks are going to be donning this year, they're the nicest jerseys in the NHL. What do you
You think
think?
so?
I think it's 100%.
I think the best jerseys right now in the NHL are the Utah Hockey Club.
They're so lame. They're so boring.
I'm joking though. Like, first of all, that name and the jersey, I know it's temporary allegedly, but come on. The Utah Yeti sounds so much cooler.
And what about the obstructed view in their arena that was built for basketball? Does that not remind you of the Barclays Center where the Islanders played for a few years?
I saw a few days ago you liked my comment on Instagram where I commented and I said my thoughts exactly when this kid said Barclays round two. And I said literally my thoughts exactly. It you could still only see three-quarters of the ice. Like, listen, I understand, you need a temporary spot, but I feel like they had time where they could have found a different place, even if you're playing in a lesser of an arena where it's not a college arena. I don't know. I mean, listen, I understand the NHL, they need to sell tickets, so they need seating, but I feel like they had time that they knew this was going to happen. Find another state or another part of Utah, let them play, and then build them an arena that's their own.
Yeah, I think the NHL will continue to expand. There's a lot of cities that are begging for an NHL team. I think that we have 32 teams in the NHL right now. I wouldn't be surprised over the next decade if it gets up to 36 teams. Kansas City, Houston, Quebec, all of these cities have been begging
But
for.
then what do you do when it comes down to playoffs?
Well, they're going to have to change the whole playoff structure if that ends up happening. But I think it's a good thing that the NHL is growing. These there's obviously high demand to bring teams into these types of cities. We've seen just in the past few years, Vegas, Seattle, Utah. Like, it's good. The game is growing across the entire country, and like I said, there's a lot of cities that have high demand for an NHL team, and I do think that it gets done. There was also talk about Atlanta. Atlanta had two hockey teams in the past. Most recent being the Atlanta Thrashers, and there was talks that there was a
Right.
development. They're going to break ground on a new arena, and go through the approvals. So we'll see where the NHL ends up in about a decade. I do think you see more teams there, maybe 36 teams, in the next 10 to 15 years.
At 36 though, just go for 40, right?
Maybe they will one day. Who knows?
I always wondered, like, I was talking to my dad about this the other night, and he's like, why do they play one football game in London? And I was like, I think they're just trying to put like American football into the UK, like try to make it like a more global
All those
thing.
fans probably got disappointed. They thought they were going to see soccer when they saw football on their ticket.
My question to you is like, could you imagine, and I know this would never happen, but like, could you imagine having like a national hockey league where like you're playing with people from I know it's called the Olympics, but I'm just saying like on a regular basis, you're playing with people from the UK, you're playing like I mean, I don't know how many people over there really play the sport, but I think that like you were saying before, other people in other countries are starting to like hockey now.
Well, I
And I
mean, it's
think that that's
big in
not
it's big
only
in parts of Europe and parts of Russia, but I think if you ever saw anything like that, North America would just smoke them between Canada and the US.
you think so?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Russia's good. Sweden, Finland,
Bro,
Czech
Czech
Republic.
Republic.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, the NHL
That's a
is the
great
most
topic in
competitive. The
itself.
NHL is the most competitive league in the world. Number two behind that is the KHL in Russia, but even the competition in the KHL doesn't even scratch the surface of where the competition is in the NHL. So
Shout out Vitaly Krastov. Is he still playing in the KHL?
somewhere, somewhere,
Another waste of
yes,
talent.
yeah, another Rangers draft pick gone sour.
Wasted, burned.
Yep.
Um, who? So okay. So I just have a question. I actually have two questions, but one I'll ask now, and then one I will wait. The season starts Wednesday. Is that correct?
For the Rangers, yeah.
Okay. So actually, I'll do this tonight.
Uh,
Sorry, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
yeah. Tomorrow the season starts, but for
Just
ours,
really
it's
quick, right? Blind. Blues versus Kraken. Who do you got? Let's see if we're on the same page.
Blues versus Kraken. I say Seattle.
Okay. I was on Seattle, but I think that's going to be a coin flip that game. Uh, oof. Bruins Panthers.
Bruins. Panthers are going to be on a high, celebrating their Stanley Cup. Bruins want revenge. They were eliminated by the Panthers the last 2 years, so I think the Bruins will get the win there.
And now you have Utah versus Chicago.
Utah, home opener.
I know nothing about Utah, honestly. I don't know who they acquired. I don't. I that's one thing that I need to look into. I really haven't paid much attention to Utah. Do you know anything about who they acquired or like what their roster's looking like?
I know that Clayton Keller is their captain now, so I know just as much as you do. They're the Arizona Coyotes dressed in a different uniform. Um, that's
Oh,
it.
that's right. Why am I thinking they're an expansion team? Never mind. Don't mind me. If Iron Phil was still playing, Iron Man Phil, he would still be he'd be wearing a Utah jersey.
I read recently he still wants to play.
I mean, so does Yarmir Yager and Sean Avery.
Let him play.
It, listen, I mean, I'm sure that a team like New Jersey would love nothing more than to sign Phil Kessel.
I'm surprised that more teams aren't pursuing him. I know he's older, and I know that he's
How
fallen off
serious
a
is he
bit,
though?
but
That's the question.
look, the guy's resume speaks for himself. Multiple Stanley Cups, great goal scorer, and just a funny guy in the locker room.
He liked hot dogs, right, or something? Was it?
There's Phil Kessel is a comedian, a full time comedian, part time hockey player.
Um, yeah, and then I mean, you have guys like Yager, right? Like Yager's still ripping it up. Um, I don't think it was him, but I think Sean Avery, right? Didn't he sign like a contract with some like Florida team?
I'm not sure
I
about
think
Sean.
that happened.
I know Yager's still playing in the Czech Republic, and he's still lighting it up.
He's like 53, 55, no big deal.
No
Like
big
just
deal.
ripping it up.
Yeah, he's just having fun at this point.
They ever find those Yager bobbleheads that went missing? Remember that last
Yeah.
year? The FBI was involved. Don't mess with hockey fans, man.
That's right.
What's that? I was watching that kid last night. What's his name? Snarp.
Yes, so funny.
But he was chirping football players. But
Yeah.
anyway, did you hear that Florida's ring ceremony is canceled? It was supposed to be tonight because of the hurricane. And I'm thinking, are they even going to play tomorrow? That's a huge. First of all, that's a huge matchup. You're playing Boston and Florida. Like that's a huge matchup. Like, are they just going to miss their home opener and just go on with their season? I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything regarding a cancellation, so the expectation is that they're going to play, and I'd like to see a full arena there, but hopefully the hurricane doesn't get in the way of that.
Yeah, it says news. Panthers cancel Monday ring ceremony with hurricane looming. So I mean, and by the way, I hope everyone, hockey fan or not, everyone's safe from all these hurricanes. It's getting kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah, it's that time of year, so hopefully these things pass and no further damage is done.
Yeah. Um. So with the season coming up, what are you looking for? Like, who do you think is going to be the biggest shocker and the biggest letdown, team wise, not a player?
Shocker, or I'm going to say the New Jersey Devils. They didn't make the playoffs last year. I think they might win the Metro this year. I think they have a strong chance to win the Cup. So I think a big shocker is the New Jersey Devils. Don't sleep on them. They're healthy. They have a new coach. They're going to be well coached, and They want to get back into the mix. Last year, I think, was a fluke in what happened with injuries and then missing the playoffs. Expect Jack Hughes to have a huge year. So on the upside, I'd say the Devils.
His brother Luke has a promising career too. I feel he's a young kid who is pretty good
Yep.
now, and I can't imagine with years of professional training and experience of how he's going to turn. I think he's going to be a great player.
And disappointment, I think the Carolina Hurricanes. I
I
think they're going to
don't
fall off
know.
a little bit. They lost a lot
I
of players, and
That's what I was going to say. I don't know that there's much expectation of them anyway. They lost a lot of people.
right. And their window is definitely closing. They were a stronger team last year than they're going to be this year, at least on paper. So
Yeah.
I think they fall off a little bit here.
My surprising team is going to be the Islanders.
Yeah,
I think
everybody's sleeping on them, and I'm saying don't sleep on the Islanders.
Yeah, I think the Islanders are my surprise, and my letdown. I don't know if there's expectations, but I think Vegas is the biggest fraudulent team in the NHL. That's just what I'm saying.
I could
I
get behind
mean,
that.
I think that everyone hypes Vegas up. Oh, Vegas, Vegas. Oh, that I I just I think that they're gonna start off hot, and then they're just gonna phase out.
I would love to see a game in Vegas, though. I hear they put on an incredible show. And
Oh, I'm sure, but you have to like change your under t-shirt like 8 times before you actually get into your seats on the ice.
listen, I was at the T-Mobile Arena a couple of years ago in the summertime, so there was no hockey, but it's a state-of-the-art place. I got myself a souvenir there, and I would absolutely love to see a game there.
Yeah, I mean that obviously would be cool. I mean, Vegas is Vegas. I've been one time. I was young, but that's besides the point. But I'm curious to see this season. Another person that didn't stand out to me that I wanted to see more in the preseason was Riley Smith. Not really sure if he's not meshing. I hope he is,
Look, he's a
but
new
I thought
player. He's learning a new system. He's going to be playing on the wing with Kreider and Zibanejad. Give it some time. Look, have realistic expectations. I don't think he's going to go out there and put up 90 points.
no,
For a
he
year.
should be solid for 50 points. You agree,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so. I think 60.
Okay.
Ever since Pavel Buchnevich left the Rangers, he was traded to St. Louis years back. Um, the Rangers have struggled to find somebody to be a winger alongside Kreider and Zip.
That
Um,
meshes.
yeah, and I mean, is Riley Smith, all of a sudden the solution? I'm not sure, but he's definitely the best option they've had over the last couple of years.
No,
Um,
I agree.
so and don't judge, preseason. Again, preseason is not
No,
an indicator for how the regular season is going to look like. It's a new system, new line mates, new city, new team. So he's going to get acclimated and adjusted to that. He is a former Penguin, so first game is
I
against the
know.
Penguins is going to be fun. But if I recall last year, you also weren't too impressed with Jonathan Quick in the preseason, and then look what happened.
But hear me out, right? Like I could see a forward or a defenseman not looking impressive in the preseason because, like you said that the other night, they're trying new things. This is to get all the kinks out to try whatever you want to try. Go ahead.
Right.
Jonathan Quick was letting in like 6 or 7 goals in the preseason. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And then this guy gets out there in the regular season and he's just like, I was just joking. I'm a
Yeah,
fucking
listen,
stud.
let him work out all the bugs early. Let the fluky goals happen in the preseason and save all the good play for the regular season. It's okay. Preseason is just a time to see what lines work, power play units, shorthanded opportunities. Players are going to get their chances. Going back to the game where we went to Rangers Islanders in the preseason, it was 4-4. And it was Adam Edstrom who scored the game-winning goal on a deflection with like
Yeah.
a minute left. In the regular season, if it's a 4-4 game with 1 minute left in the third period,
He's not going to be playing.
he's not going to be out there.
Yeah.
So take what you see with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the Rangers, and I know, like everyone watching, we obviously talk a lot about the Rangers because they're our team, but we are going to be covering the whole NHL. But in regards to the Rangers, I, all I listen, I understand like you're not going to see Edstrom, and I get it. Like all I want to see this year is that the Rangers keep Rempe as a regular and Zach Jones.
Right.
Like I think Jones is locked. I don't think he's going anywhere. You agree?
I agree 100%. He's gonna play in every game.
I think Rempe. I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen. I would assume he stays, but if you're going to put a guy like Capo Caco, no disrespect to him. Again, I'm a guy sitting behind a camera. I'm not out there playing, even though I played my whole life. But you're gonna take ice time away from a kid like Matt Rempe, who wants to be out there, who is laying the body, who is completely like loved by the fans. You're
Yep.
gonna take away time from him to play Capo Caco, who scores a goal like every like 30 games.
Look, it's a good problem to have, having options and making players
Of
work for their
course.
time. Okay, I think it's a good thing when players don't get complacent, when they know that they have to compete for ice time against their own teammates. It makes
Right.
them a better player, makes them a better team. So for what it's worth, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, no, and I agree. But I hope that the Rangers are kind of, I mean, they're a pretty young team, right? Like, who's the oldest guy on the team? Chris Kreider? Quick,
Well,
maybe?
quick, yeah, but yeah.
But like, okay, all right. So Quick's the oldest guy. What is he? 34?
No, he's like pushing 40.
No. Hey Siri, how old is Jonathan Quick?
Let's see if I can beat.
38. Wow, you're right. Listen, at 38, I hope to be moving the way that man moves. First of
He'll
all,
be 39 in January.
that dude, you're almost 40 years old and you're like stretching out like that,
Yeah.
going butterfly. Like, he doesn't even look like he's that athletic outside the pads. No
I
offense.
know, right?
Meanwhile, the guy's an absolute stud. He's won how many Stanley Cups?
He's
One,
won
two,
two, yeah,
two.
2012
Like,
and 2014.
insane. I mean, that's why you don't judge a book by its cover, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, before we go, I wanted to mention that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we did the hat, the podcast hat, the flag in pink. Um, if you guys want to buy these, DM us on Instagram and we'll figure it out. We don't have like an official like website yet. This is all still new. Me and Brandon are just having fun, honestly. But if you want to support, you want to buy a hat, you want to rep for Don't Give No Pucks. Um, this is available only in October, the month of October. Shout out to Tyler from Space City Designs, who I've driven absolutely crazy with like hats and colors and designs. Me and Brandon still have to nail down what we're gonna have. It's probably only gonna be like 2 or 3 colors in the beginning. This hat will only be available for October. Um, and hopefully Brandon will help me figure out how to donate the proceeds because he's like the logistics guy and the finance, like the responsible one.
Finance.
Yeah, finance. He wears a sweater vest. I only wear them for occasions like Halloween, but he wears them on the regular. Um,
Every day is Halloween.
I don't know if we're gonna sell these. I don't know, but we have these. Um,
Filled with Islanders tears.
listen, those are my tears right now from Friday. Okay. Um, I felt really bad. Gina was so excited. My wife was so excited to buy me these tickets, and they were great seats. And she's like, I can't believe they lost. And I'm like, listen, like I had a great time. I went out with you, but it wasn't even like a one goal. It was a little brutal. It's a little brutal.
So your wife got you tickets for your birthday to see Rangers Islanders, and your buddy Brandon got you tickets to see Rangers Islanders for your birthday.
Did
Uh,
he really?
a little bit. And you went to the game they won is the game that your buddy Brandon got you tickets, and the game that they lost is when your wife got you tickets. So just let me get you tickets from now on.
I think for her birthday, it's only right if I get her tickets, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
No question.
right?
No
I think I'm
question.
gonna do, and I think your wife the same thing. I think I think we should just start doing that.
Yeah, maybe just send them together.
One goal, pull Igor, pull him.
They'll have a better commentary and analysis than those Islanders fans behind us that were calling Matt Martin Max Martin.
Max Martin, yeah, I heard he's crazy. He's a goon. He's on a professional tryout. What? He signed to the team.
Max Martin.
Max Martin, who is non-existent, is signed to the team. Correct?
Something was he on a PTO?
The kid was saying he was on a PTO. I've never
Maybe
heard
he was onto something. Maybe he just
how
didn't
it.
know the name.
But can you be on a PTO and be on the team the year before?
If your contract expired.
Hold on, I need to look this up. But I wanted to ask you also. We never spoke about Igor's contract extension.
What contract extension? Jeremy Swayman just signed an 8-year deal worth $66 million. I think that bodes very well
What
for
is
the
that
New York
average?
Rangers. 8.25 a year. And I think that bodes very well for the Rangers because you heard rumors that the Shesterkin camp was going to be asking anywhere between 11 to $12 million a year. And now you see a contract that Swayman signed that was 8.25 a year. And I think that it's going to force the Shesterkin camp to bring their ask down. I think Igor's going to get 10 million a year.
I was thinking 8, but now you're telling me
Yeah,
Swayman's
he's
for
gonna get. He's gonna get
8.2.
more. He's gonna get more. He's gonna get more than Swayman. He's gonna get 10. I think.
By the
Uh,
way, Matt Martin is not signed to any NHL contract, but he is
Max Martin.
participating in training camp with the New York Islanders.
Max Martin.
So the guys got that right. I'll give him that. I thought that was the craziest thing. Matt Martin has been the face of the Islanders along Barzell and Brock Nelson for how long? Like,
Yeah, he's 2 stints with the Islanders. He went from the Islanders to the Maple Leafs to the Islanders, and interesting that he doesn't have a contract. I think he's a player that there's certain teams out there that would be happy to have him on their fourth line.
dude,
Um,
he's the type of guy you hate to play against, but you love him when he's on your team.
yeah, you need a player like that, Max Martin.
Like, shout out Max Martin. So you think Igor gets 10?
I think so, and I think that they get the deal done sometime this season.
They have to. When is his contract up? It's in 2 years, right?
I think this is last year.
Okay. So I mean,
I think they get it done, but I don't think I think they're going to get it done before the halfway point of the season.
and listen, I think that Igor wants to stay with New York.
Oh, without a doubt.
So it's like, he wants to stay, but don't take advantage of him. Listen, at the end of the day, people are like, "Oh my God, $10 million, really boohoo." That's not a lot for an athlete. It's really not. Like compare in comparison to what baseball and basketball players are getting. Like, give the man his money. Like, he got us as
Right.
far as we've gotten the last 2 years, and that's that. Like, give him his money. Like, I love the New York Rangers, and I understand it's a business, but stop the nickel and diming. Like, Ryan Lindgren, you agreed to a 1-year term to avoid arbitration, or no, it did go to arbitration,
No, it
but
didn't. They avoided
it,
it. Capo Caco, same thing, 1-year deal.
it's like, why are we doing that? Like, why are we creating, right, this? Not what you're doing is you're creating publicity where other teams are going to be like, oh, they haven't come to an agreement yet, so maybe we slide in there and we make a quick offer, and maybe it's enticing and they accept it, and then what?
They'll get it done. They'll get it done. They know. Listen, it's just part of the process. They're gonna get it done. I'm not worried about it. Igor's here to stay. He's the face of the franchise. He's the backbone of the team, literally. And
Yeah.
like you said, he's gonna get paid, and I'm not too worried about it. All the
Um,
more reason for him to have a great start to the season too, right? You don't want to be Swiss cheese, in a year where you're in line for another contract. So
I mean, in a way, if he is Swiss cheese, that also affects the negotiating.
sure.
Listen, Igor's Igor, and we all know that. But if he has a fluky season, that could lower his value a bit. I don't know. I'm not Chris Drury or anything, but
Sure.
we'll see what happens. On TikTok, those like blind rankings where like people are like doing that, and like it'll show like a team's logo and then like 1 through 10.
Yeah, I've seen that with Italian food rankings.
What kind of food?
It's Italian.
Is that real? Why are you saying like that?
No, I'm serious. I know what you're talking about, and I saw it the other
No.
day.
How are you what is the genre of food that you're talking about?
Italian food.
What is it?
What are you doing to me right now?
What is it?
What are you What are you talking about?
Where are my in-laws from?
Italy.
And what kind of food do they make?
Pasta.
You said Italian food.
I did it on purpose.
Oh, I'm like, there's no way you actually say that. I've been friends with you all these years, and you say Italian.
When I go to your in-laws' house, that's what I'm going to refer to next time. What are they going to say?
Um, so we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you 10 random teams. I'm just gonna give you like who's playing today and tomorrow.
And
10 teams.
I gotta rank them 1 through 10.
Yeah, but it doesn't count as a ranking unless you do the head movement.
But like
You,
1 through 10, right?
1 through 10. Yeah. So if you grab your phone, so you can like write it out,
All right.
and then you got to put the number next to it.
Grab my iPhone 10.
Yeah, guys, we have a Twitter account, but like I'm on the TikTok, I'm on the Instagram. Brandon's like the Twitter master. We have a Twitter if you want to follow us. Don't give no pucks podcast. But he just can't put any more accounts on his phone because his phone is like an iPhone X.
7 years
So
old.
7 years old. He refuses to get a new phone. He went to text me the other day, and I get a bunch of texts. Hey, are you seeing this? And seeing what? What am I seeing? And then he has a bunch of messages that he sent me. Everyone in the chat, go to the comments and tell Brandon he's to buy a new phone.
And I'll post a link to make donations for that new phone too. You know what? If I get the new iPhone, it's the last phone I'm ever going to get in my entire life.
No,
Okay. If the iPhone X lasted me 7 years, there's no way that I'm ever going to get another phone after the iPhone 16. It's so much more advanced. There's no need. If I can make this phone last me,
you know the saying like older is built better. The new everything is junk, dude.
then in that case, I'll never get a new phone. It'll just be the
You
iPhone.
may as well. You know what you should do? Go on eBay and buy the original iPhone. This way, it'll last you forever. It's a brick. Do you have your notes open?
I do.
Okay, write down these rankings. You ready?
Yep, got it.
Not the teams, not the rankings. St. Louis Blues, Seattle Kraken.
No, I have to. It's a blind ranking, so you have to give me one, and I have
Oh,
to rank it like
is
one.
that how that works?
Yeah, not knowing which one comes next.
Oh, so then I'll switch out the second one. So Seattle.
So no,
No,
I have to go
St.
St. Louis.
Louis.
St. Louis. So I'm gonna rank St. Louis.
Wait, number one is the best or 10 is the best?
Number
Number
one.
one is the
One is the
best.
best. 10 is the worst. So I'm gonna rank St. Louis as blind ranking number 7.
All right. Number 2, Calgary Flames.
They're gonna be 8. Starting me
You
with
think that
the weak ones.
the Boston Bruins,
Boston Bruins are gonna go at number 3.
Florida Panthers,
I gotta put them at 1. They won the Stanley Cup.
you sure?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm not trying to persuade you. Chicago Blackhawks,
10.
really?
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be a worse team unless you say the Sharks.
The Utah Hockey Club.
I'm gonna put them at 9.
All right, what are we up to?
So far, we have you gave me 6 teams. I put the Panthers at 1, the Bruins at 3, St. Louis at 7, Calgary at 8, Utah 9, Chicago 10. So I have 7, 8, 9, and 10 all occupied. So I have 2, 4, 5, and 6.
All right, the New York Rangers.
I'm gonna put at 2, and I think I'm making a pretty good list. So far, I have.
Can you screenshot this and save it, or your phone doesn't do screenshotting because
It might cause my phone to lose like 20% of its battery on one screenshot, but I'll give it a shot.
no pun?
I'll give it a screenshot.
All right, Pittsburgh Penguins,
Number 6.
You think that low, or would you, if you hadn't taken one of the other spots, would you have bumped them up?
They made it one. No, no, I'm confident with my list right now.
Okay.
4 and 5 are left for me, so these better be pretty decent teams, but not better than the Rangers.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
I am going to. All right, I'm going to put them at number 5, and that leaves me with whatever team you say is going to be number 4.
Montreal Canadiens.
There it is. All right,
Marty St. Louis. He's going to do it this year.
I think it's a pretty solid list. I would switch maybe 2 names around, but overall, not bad for a first shot.
So to wrap this up, we want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. Right now, we're kind of just like going with the flow again. It's the end of preseason. We're getting hyped for the regular season. Hopefully, Brandon and
a long break. Joey and I, we both had back-to-back vacations. I went on one and came back, and the day I came back, Joey, you went on one. So we missed here. So a lot to.
We're back. We're ready to rock and roll. Let us know what you want to hear about. Once the season starts, we'll be rolling with more content. Brandon and I hopefully will get to not only go to games this year, but watch them together. Have our wives make fun of us as we watch them. And yeah, just hopefully we have a great season. Hopefully not any injuries. We don't need any more injuries. League-wide. I don't want to see anyone hurt. All right. I know it's a physical game, but let's play it where no one gets hurt, and let's have a great season.
And let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers, and let's go Yankees.
Let's go Mets.
Let's do this, and hopefully we have a promising season, and we have a great season.
Hockey's back, baby.
Hockey's back, and let's do it. Later, guys.
Later.